Hey everyone, it's John Moncrief, and today talking about 4 marketing strategies for any economic climate and regards to your budget. So I've just got back into London, and first thing I did was go down to my local coffee guy to pick up some coffee beans. We hadn't got no coffee in the kitchen, so I figured better stock up. And I took my daughter along to go and grab a coffee, and the owner was in the business, and we sat down and we started talking to him. And before I knew it, he was giving her some advice on building a successful business, and I just sat there listening. And here's a guy who owns a coffee business who's basically in the middle of a pandemic in London, where the city's kind of shut down. So going to a coffee store is not something that many people have been doing for a number of months, but he's still out there opening new branches. So he's still building his business. And what he's saying to my daughter is, don't follow the crowd. Make your own road. When everybody's going, go right. And while I was sitting there, the things that he was talking about were sort of percolating in my mind. And I came up with these 4 marketing strategies, which aren't rocket science, but they took a bit of coffee. And I want to share them with you today because I think no matter where your business is or what size your business is, you can use these strategies right now. So let's get straight into them. Right. Number 1, whatever you do it well. I got this from Walt Disney. I'll give you the whole thing. It's basically whatever you do well, and do it so well that when people see you do it, they want to come back and they want to see you do it again, and they want to bring others with them so they can see how well you do what you do. And Disney used this to build Disneyland. He built the whole business off the back of this kind of idea, this mindset. So let's break this down and in context of the coffee shop as well, and just kind of give you a sense of what he's actually saying and what it means for your business. So first of all, do what you do. That's all about differentiating. When I think of my coffee guy, there's hundreds of other coffee places in London. You've got all the major chains, but he makes coffee, he puts the coffee in a cup, all the various sizes and shapes of coffee, and he does something slightly different. He tells the story of where his coffee has come from. He talks to you about the flavors of coffee and what makes us great, and where it comes from in Guatemala. I happen to be drinking a bit of Guatemala at the moment. He differentiates himself through his personality from all the other folks in the city. So do what you do and do it so well. We're talking about excellence here, like having great product, having great coffee, not just mediocre stuff that tastes burnt when it comes out of the machine. Having really great coffee. So when others see you do it, your customers, so when I come in and I drink that coffee and I taste that coffee, I become a repeat customer. I keep coming back. I want to see what he does or his staff do, and I want to see him do it again. And then that I bring others to see him do it or to see you do it, which is referral. So let's go through it again. Do what you do so well. When others see you do it, they want to see you do it again, and they want to bring others to see you do it. So my coffee guy makes great coffee. There's loads of people before pandemic hit to kind of come in and use workspace, much like other places. And he came up to me one day and said, here's a little disc, which is has our logo on it, a key ring. If you ever come in and you have any trouble with anybody behind the counter in terms of you've been here too long, you've had 2 cups of coffee, we need to move you out, the place is busy, just show them the disc so they know you're my ideal customer, my premium customer. I want you here, and it doesn't matter how long you're sitting here working, doing something different. So that's number 1. Number 2, use customer testimonials. Now, if you're doing number 1 right, number 2 should be pretty dang easy. People don't buy from us, or don't buy from you for a few reasons. One, they don't really want your product or service, and this is why customer testimonials are so valuable. They don't really need or have a need for your product or your service. They have no use for it at the moment. They can't afford it. Maybe they can't afford paying a premium for coffee, and they're quite happy just grabbing something on the run from someone else. or you haven't developed that level of trust or credibility that we need to do business with you. And testimonials can help you to kind of move things along, to move conversions along, to move leads along. And they're not too difficult to get if you're doing number one right. So what you want to do is get a process in place for collecting your testimonials. And that starts with questionnaires or evaluations. So if you deliver a product or service, send out a questionnaire, send out an evaluation. What did you think of the product? What are we doing better? How likely are you to refer us to somebody else? Have a conversation with your client. Pick up the phone and just have a conversation. I walked into the coffee shop, we sat down, grabbed a coffee, we had a conversation. Told us about his business, gave some advice to my daughter. I shared some thoughts and advice with him. And I told him what I think of his business. Have a conversation with your customer. When you start getting into that conversation, you start reminiscing on how they found your business and how you started working together and what's been really great. Take away some of those things, write them up, send them back, and ask them if you can use snippets for testimonials. Another way to do this is just get an online review service and our customers to do their reviews online. So 3 simple ways, but the key is to get that process in place and to start using testimonials. Obviously, get number one right and deliver great service. Next, build a list and keep in touch. I'm struck by how many businesses just don't build a list. They don't have any kind of CRM system in place. I work with businesses that 7, 8 figures. I work with smaller businesses that a couple of 100,000, 2 million, 6 million. None of these folks have got, or so often, none of these folks have got any kind of real list in place, and they're not using the list if they have it, or they're not segmented. And without doing that, I'm going to say, you don't know who your current customers are. You don't know what they've bought from you. And you can't remember if they sent you any referrals. So you really have very little information to work on, any data to work on. If you want to do things like build up your ideal client, the kind of client that you want to work with day in and day out, if you can't look back at that information, you can't accurately build that up. So you want to make sure that you've got a CRM system in place. And the other thing is, if you don't have anything in place, you don't really know what's going on with your prospective customers. So get a database in place so you can understand who your customers are, what their buying patterns are, what they've bought from you, where they've referred to you, who your prospects are, where they are in the process, where segmenting them across industries and all those good things. And this is all going to help you to build up information about who your ideal client is and to understand who you want to work with. And once you've done that, you want to communicate with your people, the folks on this list who have subscribed or your customers want to hear from you, as long as you add value. So make sure that you're communicating with them regularly. I do my best to communicate with everybody on my list every single week. And occasionally I take a vacation, but you want to talk to people every single week if you can, to the folks on your list. Number 4, make your advertising direct response. So let me explain to you what I mean by making your advertising direct response. Direct response advertising is designed to elicit an instant response by encouraging prospects to take a specific action. Okay, so that's the definition, but let's go into it. You essentially have 2 things. You have, in advertising, you have brand building stuff, where you're getting out there and you're building a brand, and the other advertising is getting somebody to do something and pay you some money for a product or service. The challenge is so many businesses are encouraged by the agencies to kind of go from this brand building exercise. And honestly, your customer doesn't really care what your image looks like, doesn't care what your sales quota is for the quarter, doesn't care what colors your brand are. They're only going to start to care about that stuff once they start doing business with you, once they realize your product or service meets their need. So you need to understand your ideal customer, and you need to start working on getting your customer to take an action. And direct response advertising is about getting customers to take an action, and we'll walk through that now. And you can build your brand at the same time. So the ads that you're putting out can represent your brand and speak to your brand and use the tone that you've associated with your brand, but at the same time getting your customers or prospects to take action. And the way we do this is that you create something of high value. It could be a white paper, research, a book. You take that and you put that together, and then through landing pages on your website or through promotion on Facebook or LinkedIn, you make that offer available. It's a no-brainer. It's something that somebody needs to fix a problem that they've got in their business. So whether whether that customer is a therapist who is just completely overloaded and needs some admin help, and you're a virtual assistant, you're putting out a nice ebook on how to improve your admin, or you're a software company putting out a white paper on how to secure your business. It's got to be something that customer that solves or helps get that customer or that prospect get insight into a problem they're dealing with. So create something of value, you offer it through a form, they fill in the form, they come on into your CRM system, into your database, you start building that list, and ultimately you start communicating with the people on that list regularly. So those are my 4 strategies I wanted to share with you this week. I think you can get started on these straight away. When you get into the office on Monday, you get sort of straight away think about, am I doing what I'm doing that people want to come back and want to see me do it again, and they want to refer people? Am I creating a list, and have I got a CRM system in place? Jump on a HubSpot, get one for free. There's Infusionsoft, HubSpot, Pipedrive. Most of them offer a free tool. Shift your advertising, if you're doing any, from brand building to direct response. So hope that helps. Have a great weekend and see you next week.